Project 2021 made by Time Higher Education.
We also offer Sportmaster and Doctoral Program in Management, Accounting, and Economics. All these programs incorporate the values of local wisdom as part of its curriculum. FEB UNDIP also has a professional program known as Professional Accounting Program, which was established in 2003. All the study programs have been accredited and awarded A category or Outstanding category by the National Accreditation Agency for Higher Education, Republic of Indonesia. Internationally, FEB UNDIP is accredited by the Alliance on Business Education and Scholarship for Tomorrow, a 21st century organization, ABS21. With a well-designed curriculum, facilities, and resources, our faculty provides the students knowledge and skills to succeed in national and global business environment. We have so many partners in developing our faculty, such as governments, banking industries, private sector, and also other potential universities, especially from Europe, Asia, and Australia. Currently, we are increasing cooperation with other stakeholders to bring our faculty to be the best choice faculty in Indonesia. Besides its regular study programs, FEB UNDIP also offers international undergraduate program to students. The International Undergraduate Program, or IUP, is established to meet the demand of today's international competition. All courses in the International Undergraduate Program are delivered in English, and the curriculum is in par with the top business school standard. The IUP consists of 3 majors: International Business, Accounting, Economics, and Finance. During the study, students can test their classroom theories and get innovative network through internship, business case competition, career fairs, and students groups. All IUP students will also experience to become parts of the global society through double degree, single degree, and international student exchange program. Double degree program allows students to obtain 2 undergraduate degrees from UNDIP and partner institution. Since the curriculum in IUP FEB UNDIP is set to the international standard, all credits obtained in UNDIP are transferable to the partner institution and universities worldwide. Partner universities: Saxion University of Applied Sciences, the Netherlands; Université de la Réunion, France; MBS Paris 13, France; University of Applied Sciences and Arts, Northwestern Switzerland; University of Sheffield, England; Curtin University, Australia; the University of Western Australia; the University of Queensland, Australia; University Teknologi Malaysia; University of Malaya, Malaysia; University Kebangsaan Malaysia; Chiba University, Japan; Kagoshima University, Japan; Kanazawa University, Japan; Toyohashi University, Japan; Chung-Ang University, Korea; Kangwon National University, Korea; Asia University, Taiwan; Tunghai University, Taiwan, and etc. The faculty has academic and non-academic facilities to support and optimize the potential of the students. The library, economics, business, and accounting laboratory, and Bloomberg Finance Laboratory are provided for students to help them learn further about their studies. Our faculty is also equipped with adequate facilities such as basement parking area, sport facilities, working space, and green space for students to study. Besides the activities inside the class, we also have activities outside the class. For example, singing or economic voice, song and dance, theater, study clubs or capital market, English conversation, and so many others.
That's some of the things that you can get. So, what are you waiting for? See you at the Faculty of Economics and Business, Universitas Diponegoro. Au revoir. Annyeong. Sayonara.
Diponegoro University has been moving ahead to be the best university in Indonesia by providing 13 faculties of undergraduate and postgraduate. Diponegoro University has graduated 300,000 qualified alumnus. Diponegoro University also establishes vocational schools to generate a ready-to-work alumnus. Holding the fighting values of Pangaran Diponegoro, such as honest, brave, fair and attentive, Diponegoro University keeps producing excellent alumnus nationally and internationally, while also contributing in the development of knowledge, technology, art, culture and exercise.
Recording in progress.
Diponegoro University now is a rising star. We have planned to become one of university in 500 world university rank. We have been continuously improving the supporting aspect such as regulation, facilities, financial system, bureaucracy management, information system, as well as quality of human resources, quality escalation of three Dharma perguruan tinggi. As the primary target of UNDIP, by stimulating the downstream of research outcomes that can be beneficially implemented for the society. We are also keen to improve the quantity of national and international academic publication, as well as the number of doctorates and professors in Diponegoro University.
Now, Diponegoro University has been improving in two important aspects of achievement: institutionally and student achievement. Diponegoro University has become a world-class university by being ranked 5th amongst almost 5,000 universities in Indonesia. Meanwhile, the students' achievement in both national and international scales of prestigious events are increasing. The vision to be an eminent research university is supported by the continued increase of research funding. The total research and civil service funding in 2018 is 123.7 billion rupiah. It consists of PMBP, the National Competition Research Funding, and Collaboration Research Funding. Intellectual property right becomes the indicator of significantly improved research. The patent consists of simple patent, patent, international patent, software and invention legal letter. To support the academic process, Diponegoro University has been improving the student facilities. Thus, the students will not only get the knowledge but also the actualization space. academic service, Diponegoro University has built a central computerized system that includes the service for the online study plan and online registration.
Iklim kompetisi di Undip yang sportif dan konstruktif memacu saya untuk terus berprestasi dalam akademik maupun non-akademik.
Didukung dengan fasilitas umum dan keakademikan yang lengkap.
Sehingga membawa Undip masuk 10 besar universitas terbaik di Indonesia.
Undip berada di daerah beragam budaya yang harmonis.
Yang pastinya Undip lebih baik.
Undip lebih baik. Bagaimanapun, Undip pasti lebih baik.
Welcome to Diponegoro University. The Master of Management in Diponegoro University is a postgraduate program which specifically educates students to become a professional expert in business and management.
It has been established since 1994, and for about 26 years, it has been produced thousands of skilled managers and entrepreneurs.
Diponegoro University is located at the central city of Semarang.
Semarang is well known as a capital city of Central Java, Indonesia. In Semarang city, you can see both modernization and traditions meet together and create a beautiful harmony.
Therefore, it offers you a conducive environment to study.
Now let's have a tour inside. By joining this program, it makes me learn how to manage, develop, and also maintain networks within community, colleagues, and also peers within the wider research institution. Through all the facilities that provided by the university, such as laboratories, IDX Investment Gallery, library, Bank Indonesia Corner, Bloomberg Facility, comfortable classroom, and sports center, I could build my ability to increase learning capacity independently. The Master of Management program at Diponegoro University offers the specialization for its students, namely finance, marketing, human resource management, strategic management for public sector, operation management, wealth management, and the most favorite one is cross-cultural business management.
This program is widely open for foreign students. Many foreign students, such as China, Japan, Thailand,
Sierra Leone, Burundi, Afghanistan, and Timor-Leste have joined this program.
The Master of Management program is also accredited at Rank A by BAN-PT and A Class 21.
Diponegoro University has collaboration with 116 international institutions in 28 countries.
They are top universities from various countries across Asia, America, Australia, and also Europe. Change your future with Diponegoro University.
Start here. Start here.
Start here.
Universitas Diponegoro, UNDIP, as one of the most favorite campuses in Indonesia, is located in Semarang, Central Java, Indonesia. Semarang, the capital and the largest city of Central Java, is known as a My City with slogan The Great Semarang. The city is famous for heritage building. It lies in the northern part of Central Java, and it is about an hour flight from Indonesia capital city, Jakarta. Located about 15 minutes from the downtown of Semarang City, Faculty of Economics and Business, Universitas Diponegoro, brings its vision to become a leading faculty of economics and business in the implementation of 3 pillars of higher education, both at the national and international levels, as well as rooted in the surrounding community.
This faculty was established on March 14, 1960. Well, let's have a look inside.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone, my name is Professor Suharnomo, Dean of Economic and Business Faculty, Universitas Diponegoro. Warm greeting from Semarang, Central Java, Indonesia. Let me inform you a little bit about our faculty. Faculty of Economic and Business is one of the best in Indonesia. We are top 5 based on World University Ranking by subject 2021, made by Time Higher Education.
We also offer both master and doctoral program in management, accounting, and economics. All these programs incorporate the values of local wisdom as part of its curricula. FEB UNDIP also has a professional program known as Professional Accounting Program, which was established in 2003. All the study programs have been accredited and awarded A category or outstanding category by the National Accreditation Agency for Higher Education, Republic of Indonesia. Internationally, FEB UNDIP is accredited by the Alliance on Business Education and Scholarship for Tomorrow, a 21st century organization, ABS 21. With a well-designed curriculum, facilities, and resources, our faculty provides the students knowledge and skills to succeed in national and global business environment. We have so many partners in developing our faculty, such as governments, banking industries, private sector, and also other potential universities, especially from Europe, Asia, and Australia. Currently, we are increasing cooperation with other stakeholders to bring our faculty to be the best choice faculty in Indonesia. Besides its regular study programs, FEB UNDIP also offers international undergraduate program to students. The International Undergraduate Program, or IUP, is established to meet the demand of today's international competition. All courses in the International Undergraduate Program are delivered in English, and the curriculum is in par with the top business school standard. The IUP consists of 3 majors: international business, accounting, economics, and finance. During the study, students can test their classroom theories and get innovative network through internship, business case competition, career fairs, and students groups. All IUP students will also experience to become parts of the global society through double degree, single degree, and international student exchange program. Double degree program allows students to obtain 2 undergraduate degrees from UNDIP and partner institution. Since the curriculum in IUP FEB UNDIP is set to the international standard, all credits obtained in UNDIP are transferable to the partner institution and universities worldwide. Partner universities: Saxion University of Applied Sciences, the Netherlands; University de La Réunion, France; MBS Paris 13, France; University of Applied Sciences and Arts, Northwestern Switzerland; University of Sheffield, England; Curtin University, Australia; the University of Western Australia; the University of Queensland, Australia; University Teknologi Malaysia; University of Malaya, Malaysia; University Kebangsaan Malaysia; Chiba University, Japan; Kagoshima University, Japan; Kanazawa University, Japan; Toyohashi University, Japan; Chung-Ang University, Korea; Kangwon National University, Korea; Asia University, Taiwan; Tungha University, Taiwan, and etc. The faculty has academic and non-academic facilities to support and optimize the potential of the students. The library, economics, business, and accounting laboratory, and Bloomberg Finance Laboratory are provided for students to help them learn further about their studies. Our faculty is also equipped with adequate facilities such as basement parking area, sport facilities, working space, and green space for students to study. Besides the activities inside the class, we also have activities outside the class. For example, singing or economic voice, song and dance, theater, study clubs or capital market, English conversation, and so many others.
That's some of the things that you can get. So, what are you waiting for? See you at the Faculty of Economics and Business, Universitas Diponegoro. Au revoir, annyeong, sayonara.
The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. May your dream fly high. Imagination will take you everywhere. The future is always beginning now.
Universitas Diponegoro, as one of the universities in Indonesia, has declared to be research university with an international reputation in accordance with the vision of become an excellent research university. As an international world-class research university, although UNIF is expected to have a good academic reputation that create globally competitive graduates with excellent competence, conduct continuous research and development for the people with continuous improvement of human resources by international standard capacity development program.
Hi, I am a freshman in Universitas Diponegoro. If you don't mind, can you tell me a brief story about the side activity in Undip?
There are some that interest me,
Well, me and my bestie, we spend our time to do several sport activities like softball, badminton, soccer, futsal, table tennis, volley, and archery.
We have 23 members, including 2019 and 2020 batches.
There are also some fascinating sport activities if you like challenging yourself. For instance, karate or diving.
For me, I prefer joining the dance activity because I love dancing. Since the first time I saw the Japanese dance, I was like, wow, it's so fascinating. So that's why.
The art activity in UNDIP is not limited to Japanese dance, but also there is a musical activity that is greatly beyond enjoyable if you want to compare it Japanese dance.
I think you agree that playing music is a way to channel our aspirations, things, thoughts, and feelings.
There are many activities that we can explore in UNDIP.
Truly, it helped us escape from this monotonous life. We should really expand our talent not only academically but also non-academic that we could develop through these UNDIP activities.
Okay.
Hold on, I'm not gonna miss this. Our one and only choir that successfully made their way in a pathway, like in Spain and Celsia.
Diponegoro University Choir is one of student activity units practicing vocal arts.
Consists of people with different backgrounds, but are united by one hobby, namely singing.
We actively participate in events both inside and outside campus.
We also participate in various competitions at national and international levels.
We introduce Indonesian culture by performing folk songs from all over the country to get achievements in international competitions.
We hope to continue producing more that can entertain and inspire many people.
There's no way we would forget about that one.
Alright, thanks for info.
My name is Dr. Fuad. I am currently as the head of the department of the accounting program, actually since a month ago, since February 2016. We as the lecturers and the students share the same objectives and share the same goals, which is to increase the quality of the academic and non-academic process. And in order to do that, we have to treat the students as the partners. So therefore we can communicate in the formal and informal environment as well.
My name is Ahmad Shakir Kurnia, and I have been teaching here in the Department of Economics and Development Studies, the Faculty of Economics and Business Diponegoro Universities, more than 15 years, as I've been teaching here since 1998. Teaching here in many areas, including monetary economics, econometrics, as well as microeconomics. And I enjoy teaching here because I enjoy having interaction with colleagues here, and I enjoy having interaction with students here, because the faculty brings us in a very good atmosphere, so that we can develop, we can go further together.
Good morning. We invite all participants to join this event by joining the FEB live event channel. All participants are required to mute the microphone and make a presence on the link listed in the live chat. We gently remind all participants are required to mute the microphone and make a presence on the link listed in the live chat panel. Before we start the event today, we would like to express our sincere gratitude to the Excellency, the head of the Akuntan Professional Education Study Program, Faculty of Economics and Business Universitas Diponegoro, Dr. Dwi Ratmono, MSc Akasi. Honorable Speaker and Moderator, Mr. Frendy, Ph.D., PPA, Illinois, and Mr. Adi Firman Ramadan, SA, and Aka Akasi. Respected audience, all participants, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, let's praise our God, the most gracious, the most merciful, the creator and sustainer of the universe, for letting us attend and participate in this online event without any obstacle. Today, 7th of November 2023, we proudly present guest lecturer event Accountant Professional Education Study Program, Faculty of Economics and Business Universitas Diponegoro, with them, Impact of Generative Artificial Intelligence on Accounting Education, Research, Practice, and Ethical Content. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, before we start the event today, let's take a moment of silence to pray together according to our respective religions and beliefs. So this event will run smoothly and bring benefits as we are all expecting. Moment to pray, begin. Amen. As the first agenda of today's event, we cordially invite the head of the Accountant Professional Education Study Program, Faculty of Economics and Business Universitas Diponegoro, to deliver an opening speech. The Dr. Dwi Ratmono, MSc Akasi. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Master of Ceremony. Good morning to everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First, as head of Accountant Professional Education Program, I would like to say thank you and express my gratitude and welcome to our speaker today, Dr. Frendy, Certified Public Accountant, Illinois. He is Associate Professor from NUCB School of Management, Nagoya, Japan. And also our moderator today, Pak Adi Firman Ramadan, Ph.D. candidate. He is also his expertise in information system that will guide our discussion today. For today's seminar, Dr. Frendy will present a topic about impact of generative artificial intelligence on accounting, education, research, and practice. And also, he will present about how to develop ethical concern related to the use of generative artificial intelligence. I think it is very interesting and relevant topic today, not only for lecture but also student and practitioner. So for the audience, from lecturer, professional accountant, student, and other participants, I'm sure that all audience will benefit from interesting topic today from Dr. Frendy lecture. And I would like also thank you to our committee from student, keluarga mahasiswa akuntansi. That's all I think as all speech today. And again, I say thank you to Dr. Frendy and Pak Afran. Hopefully we will get interesting topic and knowledge today. I think that's all. I will back again to Master Ceremony. Good morning. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kira, for the respected audience. Before we move to the next agenda, we would like to invite you to an online photo session. To our audience, please turn your camera on so our documentation team can capture all of us. We'll wait for all the audience to be ready. Right? Let me count. 1, 2, 3. Put a smile on. Once more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Now we have come to the main part, the reason we are here for. We get lecture to the theme. Impact of generative artificial intelligence on accounting education, research, practice, and ethical concerns that will be guided by Mr. Adi Firman Ramadan SAM, AKA, as moderator. Before the session begins, I'll read the brief CV of Mr. Adi Firman. He achieved his Bachelor of Accounting from Universitas 11 Maret on 2006. Accounting profession from Universitas 11 Maret on 2009, and then Master of Accounting from Universitas Indonesia on 2012. He's currently ongoing to obtain a doctorate degree at Faculty of Business and Economics, Department of Decision Science, University Malaya, Malaysia. Mr. Adi Firman Ramadan acted as an accounting lecturer at Faculty of Economics and Business Universitas Diponegoro with lots of experience as Vice Head of International Office, Internal Auditor Member National Diponegoro Hospital, Assessor of Accounting Competency RSPTA or PNSP, and Assistant of Vice Dean Communication and Business. He's also active as a researcher and on a national and international scale, and as an active member of EAI and AIS as well. Now we cordially invite Mr. Adi Firman Ramadan, SAM AKA to guide the stage.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Oni, for the brief introduction of me. Can you hear my voice?
Clearly, sir.
Okay,
yeah, it's clear.
Thank you. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good morning to all the participants of the guest lecture from the program Accountant Professional Education from the Economics and Business Faculty on Diponegoro, and welcome to Mr. Frendy, Ph.D. CPA. Okay, today I will be a moderator for this interesting guest lecture. That's very interesting topic also for today. Just we discuss about the AI, artificial intelligence, and I hope we can take a lot of knowledge and experience from our lecture today, Dr. Frendy. Okay, before we start the session, let me introduce our guest lecturer today. Is Mr. Frendy, Ph.D. CPA. He obtained his bachelor degree in economics, majoring in accounting with honors in 2010. And then he obtained his Master of Economics from Graduate School of Economics, Nagoya University, Japan in 2015. And then obtained Ph.D. Economics with majoring in accounting from the Graduate School of Economics, Nagoya University, Japan in 2018. And he got a lot of experience, and now he is an associate professor in Nagoya University of Commerce and Business, Business School, Japan, with a research interest are sustainability, corporate governance, audit market, financial accounting, and disclosures. And he also obtained a CPA from Illinois, United States. So we have a very, very good guest lecture for today from Nagoya University. And I hope all the participants, and also including me, can get a lot of things, knowledge about the artificial intelligence, especially in accounting education, research practice, and ethical concern. Okay, Dr. Frendy, the time is yours.
All right, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, thank you. So first, I would like to say thank you for Mr. Adi for the introductions, and thank you for Dr. Dwi for inviting me to be able to share what I know about artificial intelligence and how it impacts the accounting domain in general. So in today's sessions, we are going to cover quite a wide breadth of topics, and we are going to divide these lecture into 5 parts. First, I'm going to introduce the overall concept of AI itself, just briefly, as I know we are already quite familiar with what it can do since its popularity in the past last year, 1 year. And then I'm going to cover the impact of AI on in the realm of accounting in specific topic of education, research, practice, and some limitations and ethical concerns and what's for the future. So before I begin, I would like to share that in the middle of the lecture, I would like to have some interactive sessions with everyone. So there'll be a session in which you could try how does this AI works, especially in the context of accounting educations, because I think almost all of us here as students or lecturers are involved daily in this field, and we would like to see how we can use it to enhance the quality of our accounting educations. So I will share some of the prompt that you can try by yourself using ChatGPT or Bing AI or any other large language model AI, generative AI that you prefer. Okay, so this will be the structure of my lecture today. So let's start with a short introduction on why it's important to discuss this topic today. So here I quote some new development facing finance and accounting in general. So if you ask the leaders of accountings in the world right now, globally, what are the most important issues facing the accounting and finance domain right now? So there are 7 of this that I show you here. And here we can see on this point 6, here we can see the significant impact on rapidly developed emerging technologies revolving around AI. So we know that the technology itself, OpenAI, was first popularized by ChatGPT in around last year, the end of last year, November around 2022. And since then, the explosion on the products, the discussions, research surrounding its impact on all fields of or domains of life has been very surprising. And if we look at the statistics, it shows that the growth of the users of ChatGPT, I think it surpasses all the growth of new users of any internet platform in the past decades. It even beats Facebook, TikTok, YouTuber, and any other, you can say, Web 3.0 that services that comes before. So this is certainly a big things to come. And we are still in the early stage of the utilization and development of AI. So it will be very imperative for everyone that's involved in the field of accounting to keep track and see how we can utilize these tools to enhance their educations and how we could prepare our students to utilize these tools when they transition to the workplace in the future. As ready or not, it's our students who will have to adapt themselves to the world in which the use of these AI tools are commonplace. So let's just go over the basics definitions of what is actually AI. So if we don't understand the works of AI, it will feels like magic, right? You just ask some questions and then in a few seconds, the tools could respond naturally as if we are talking to people. But AI itself is not something that comes out of the something revolutionary that comes up by itself. Our AI itself is based on very widely tested field of machine learning. So these products of ChatGPT that we have seen so far is the result of the development of the machine learning techniques that have been going on in the past decades. Okay, so one subset of the machine learning as a technology that's used as the basis of all chatbot or ChatGPT, as one example, is called natural language processing, because that's the input that the tools accept, and that's the output that the tools generate as well. So the term that is used to classify this type of tools, we call it generative AI, because it could accept the inputs of languages, usually written language, sometimes spoken languages that's converted to text. It accepts that input and then process the words. It could discern the meaning and intention of the words that we input and then generate responses based on that. And the results of these generative AI tools is based on the models that it used to run that serve as its, we can say, process or brain. So the output of any generative AI tools, including ChatGPT, it very depends on the quality of the models that it's used to train with. Okay, that's why if you know something about the version of ChatGPT, the free version that you generally use, ChatGPT 3.1, is based on the older version that use a slightly smaller model to train compared to ChatGPT 4, which use a much larger data sets to train with. So that's what differentiates the quality between ChatGPT 4 and 3.5. So to summarize, what could generative AI do? So here are four of them, the most basic ones. First, summarizations. So AI models are trained using languages, so it understands the arrangement of words, the meaning, the grammatical or rules, and the intention behind each words and how the sentence work. And because of this understanding, they could be used to paraphrase sentences, paragraphs. So, and in some other functions, the summarization, it could be also used to make a summary of longer text into a shorter one. Next, translations, because it deals with languages, and usually languages works on a consistent grammatical and vocabulary rules. That's why it's very easy for these tools to conduct or perform translations roles. And we can already see this being implemented in very popular apps that I think all of us has in our smartphone, like Google Translate. It's one of the implementation of generative AI function that's embedded in the camera functions. Then error detections. This also related to the understanding of the AI tools on grammatical rules. So it could detect any discrepancies on the text that we put and then compare it with the selections of wealth of, we can say, correctly worded sentences or words that used in this training. And then question answering. It could be able to interpret the intention or question or request. And usually when we want to ask computer to do something, let's say 10 years ago, we have to rely on programming languages, right? I think some of you might be familiar with C, Visual Basics. And if we want to learn to program, we have to learn specific rules on commands and syntax to use those, to perform those tasks. And that's very limiting. And if we even just make small mistakes in the syntax, the results of the output will result in an error. But generative AI doesn't perform its function with such rigid rule. So even if we ask questions with a lot of grammatical errors or use very simple words, most of the time, the tools could still get our intentions and perform the task that we requested it to do. So in the middle of the session today, I will give some examples on how to use this prompt. We can say that's the term we use to designate the input we put in these generative AI tools. So later, let's try and see for ourselves how these functions work in the context, of course, in accounting, education more specifically. So next, I'll just show a few results of reports by McKinsey and Company on the impact of generative AIs to the global economy in the future. So here, this in the exhibits, on the black bar, it shows the impact of the existing analytical tools that was popular before AI. For example, deep learning, traditional machine learning, and analytics. And here, with the advent of generative AI tools that has become accessible to the public and corporations, we can see a significant economic impacts in the future, about 50 to 40%. And this results from new products, new services, and increase in efficiency that are driven by the use of these tools across economies and production, services, educations, etc. And if we dive deeper on what field of services or industry that will be most impacted by this generative AI, here I pick one more exhibits that shows how could AI contribute on top of the existing automations that have been implemented in each field. So you can see the black dot on the left. Those are the automations, the existing automation, the effect of automations without AI. And the blue one, how could this automation could be further enhanced with the adoption of generative AI? So as we can see, almost all sectors, there's no exceptions that will not be impacted by this implementation of generative AI. So you can see in average 8% of the use of generative AI will increase productivity of all economic sectors by 8%. Okay. And if we dive deeper on the field that are relevant to us, our talk today is about education and business, we can see that the impact of the increased efficiency of the use of generative AI is much more larger than average. So it's about 16% to 40%. So as a business educators, I think it's even more important. This exhibit shows that the more significance or a higher significance that we should pay attention to on how AI could impact the education field and how it will impact our students when they jump into the business professionals later after they graduate. And especially in the education field, I've read in one article that the titles mentions after the advent of popularity of ChatGPT and its use by students and the professor, they argue that all classroom will be AI class from now, regardless of your field. So all accounting class, all business management class will have to integrate or discuss this effect on AI in one way or another. Okay, and if we see how could the use of AI impact the employment, I think that's one sensitive issue that's been discussed as well. And as we can see, the impact of AI will, especially for some field that rely on lots some of the functions that generative AI could do, for example, translation, summarizations, those fields will be heavily impacted by the use of AI, and which have seen this happen in real time, where there are a lot of smaller companies that reduces its workforce because now they just transition to generative AI. And we have to prepare for this as well, as some of the functions that were used to be performed by human manually, like translations, even copywriting, copy editing, a part of that work could disappear in the future because it's being replaced by AI. And we have to find out how could the future workforce look like in this news of the new development. So we have to find out what other value that the workforce could provide to complement their functions that could be easily replaced by generative AI. And that includes educations and business profession in general, as its impact, and as we can see, a lot of its role could be heavily impacted with the use of generative AI. Okay, so I think that's sufficient for our first sessions, just a short introduction on what AI is and its impact on business and economy in general. So next, let's jump into the second part of our talk today, which is about how could generative AI impact accounting education in general. So a lot of universities have published their policies on the use of ChatGPT and generative AI tools in general. So here I share publicly two of these public policy, one from Harvard and one from University of Tokyo. So in general, and I can say the same for my university, we don't explicitly prohibit the use of ChatGPT in the class. However, it's up to each professors and each courses to determine whether they would like to actively use it in the class or they would use it sparingly. So it's up for the professor to determine its use. However, it's as institutions, we don't outright prohibit its use. Though we are, of course, concerned about the issue of plagiarism. That's the only thing that our university have a very strong stance against the use of AI for. So I'll be interested to hear from, I think, from either Mr. Adi on what's the policy on the use of ChatGPT in UNDIP, for example. All right, so I think here we are now in this part of the session in which I want to be a bit more interactive. So let's see and practice how we could use ChatGPT in some prompts that we could use in the context of the content education. So let me change my screen. All right. So, okay, so let's try. So this is the most, we can say, basic examples of prompt that I think most of you are familiar with, right? Providing direct instructions to the tools. So this is one example, right? We provide instructions. There's a mention of some verb in the beginning, explain. And then what's the topic that we want to explain? Let's say here, let's take the issue of ESG, it's very trendy right now. And then on financial reporting. So let's try put this, put in the Zoom chat. Oh, did it work? Please wait. All right. So would you try put this in the any, say, ChatGPT tools that you have and see how does the result look? Okay, so probably here, Mr. Adi could help me and do this exercise together with me. Is it okay? Right. So this is one example, right? How does the output look? So, does it provide a long or short? Wait. Yeah. Thank you. Right. And then, let's take a comparison. We're going to do another instruction prompting, but this time we are going to give it a little more context. Okay. So this time the changes, we add some more add-ons in the end of the prompt. Let's see, compare the results. Yeah. Okay, so I already copied the prompt in the Zoom chat so everyone could try to go along. Yeah. Right, so how does the results differ? You can share my result as well. Okay. Yeah, could everyone see my script? Okay. So let's see the results here. So here we can see that it provides a pretty comprehensive response, right? And it usually comes up with a list. And when we check the context, it tries to cover everything. So impact on firm risk, some regional area. But when we try to specify the context, we can see some significant changes in one of the points. Okay. For example, here, the EU reporting rules. This one in the responses, it tried to match the responses to a more specific, in this more specific context, in this case, European context. So this is one of the way we could improve the quality of the responses of most generative AI tools by specifying the context in which we want to get more detailed responses. All right, so next part, let's jump in. All right. Let me share my screen again. Okay, so that's the basic instruction prompting. But there's a second way to do it. We ask questions directly to the tools. So instead of direct instructions, we could reframe the prompt into questions. And we could add some more context. So for example, we could ask the tools to use some recent examples. Okay. This is one example here. Next, role prompting. So this instruct the generative AI tools to assume the role of some people or person with certain personalities. Okay, because we know that the language used by certain people or role will change dramatically. So, for example, if I ask the generative tools, AI tools, to play the role as financial analyst, it will use words or vocabularies that are more formal, that are professionals, that are more precise. Okay. But if I ask the generative AI tools to play a role as a student, let's say first-year student, and use informal language, the output that it will produce will sound very different. Okay. So again, to generate a more high-quality response for generative AI, it's very important to be more specific, to provide the generative AI tools with more context. So for example, the tools will assume a role as a financial analyst, 10 years of experience with focus in South Asia. That's pretty specific. Right? And then we could start provide instructions with more context. So here, we don't only ask the tools to just explain the financial implications, but also provide real-world examples, and then strategy of compliance. So by using this prompt, the results will come out more. The results that will be come out from the tools will be more specific to our needs. Okay, so let's continue. Context prompting. So again, it's similar to the previous example of role prompting. We not just assume some role that the ChatGPT should take, but also provide some more background on how those roles could be played. So for example, we ask the ChatGPT to assume a role of a lecturer in specific university, especially locations, and what subject. And then we want the answers to to be formatted or worded in such a way that it will be understandable to, let's say, first-year students, second-year students. Okay. So we can try this. So let me, again, share this prompt. Okay, so let's try this. I already copied this prompt. Okay, let me share my screen here. Okay, did anyone come up with different results?
Yes, doctor. For me, there's it different with yours. With yours, I got the different things.
Right. So here, I use the option that's more precise. So the chat has a more, let's say, straightforward personality. Let's say more creative. Let's see if it's different.
Or maybe because I use the free version one, so got the different things.
Yeah. So here I use Bing Chat. It's also available for free. So yeah, I think it's very useful for us now that we have options of many free alternative of chatbot. We can try and compare the results. So here we can see how the result is very different compared to the first one. The first one, the chat output some list which is very close to the definitions of internal control that comes straight from the textbook, right?
Yeah.
But here, it doesn't come up with lists, but it's still pretty comprehensive. So we can see there's still some limitations on some of these chats. It still uses some technical words. So again, as the end users, as humans still have a complete control on how we want to treat this output. Do you want to use all of it, or we have to modify the output one way or another? Okay, great. So let me go back to my slide again. All right. So another trick that could be used to force the tool to generate a more useful responses is to show the tools examples of the answers we want to expect from its response. So let's try this. Okay, so this is the typical prompting we usually ask the tools. We call it zero-shot prompting. So this prompt doesn't provide any examples. Okay, it's called zero-shot. So let's try this. What are some effective ways to detect fraud in auditing? So, okay. I shared the prompts. So let's try it again. Let's try more paths. Share my screen. Let's figure out what kind of response we'll get. Okay, again, it usually comes up with a list. So for this big chat, it provides some reference. Okay, so it's kind of neat here as well. So it provides 5 results. Okay. Now, let's say as users, we don't want this very comprehensive list, right? We just want to answers that are very straightforward, just a few sentences. Okay. How do we ask the tools program? How do we modify our prompt so that it will output the results that we desire? So this is where we could use this technique. We provide several examples to the tools before we expect a response for that. Okay. So here is the example of the prompt we could use. So we provide some instructions, but we instruct them that I'm going to give you some examples first. So I'll give you an example question answer press, and I want you to reply to new questions in the start of the example answer. Provide a response to the new question only. So, okay, we provide some example question and some example answer. So here, how can company improve its internal control? We expect the questions to be shown in just one sentence, right? Regular audit the employee can answer internal control. Okay, second example. Again, some kind of related questions in the field of accounting. Just one sentence, that's what we expect. How can I determine independence? Just one sentence, okay? Nice and short. And then we pose new questions to the tools. New question, what are some effective ways to defraud accounting? You answer, that's the output we'd expect. So let's try this example. So this will be a pretty long prompt. So let's try it. So we could do this in one go. Okay, so let's try copy paste it in ChatGPT and how it shows the output. Bing chat still doesn't work so well. How about ChatGPT?
ChatGPT is more precise, so just got the one sentence.
Right. So I think that shows the power of these examples, right? So okay, let's go back to the screen here. Oh, let me see here. Okay. So I try again, but this time I use a more precise conversation style. Yeah, it now shows shows my expected answer, right? Just implement internal controls, conducting regular analytics. So think this, I hope, will give you practical examples that we could use. Right. Next one is the combination of all of the previous prompt that we have discussed before. So we could specify the role that we want the responses to take the perspective from. So for example, accounting professors. And then we could also provide the context on what the audience that we expect the answer is supposed to be addressed for. Let's say students with a very diverse background. Okay. And then after we've finished specifying the role and the context of the audience for the responses, we now move on to provide the instructions. Let's say provide a brief overview of sustainability. That's first instruction, and then take your students' diverse background into account. So these are more specific instructions that ask the tools to consider the context in more specifically. Okay. So these are the kind of prompt techniques that will produce a more high quality responses. Okay. And then let's try some more practice and examples. So AI chatbots actually have a very short-term memory that we could utilize when we having a chat with them. So we don't have to input all the prompt all at once. It could, in some capacity, not very long-term memory, but let's say a few minute sessions, it could remember some of the answers and prompt we asked before. So let's try some examples here. Okay. So here, I will ask the generative AI tools to answer the same questions. What are the advantages of study accounting over others at history? But then I will take a very different context for these questions. Okay, so first, I will ask the tools to answer this question from the perspective of accounting professor. Okay, and then for the second prompt, I will ask the ChatGPT to generate responses that comes from the voice of, let's say, year 1 or year 2 students that use a very casual language. Let's see how they prompt. Okay, so for this prompt, let's divide the prompt into 2 parts. Okay. Okay, let's try it. First, let's provide the context for the generative AI tools to use. So if we just, let's see, let me copy my prompt again. Okay. All right. Let's combine it. See, ChatGPT did could work better. Let's try it. Okay, this is one. Okay, for the second part, let me copy paste it. So for this is the response for the first instructions. Okay. So again, this is a pretty detailed response, very straightforward, using very formal languages. Let's see if it could make some responded with some casual language as humor. Here we can start to see the very different output. Probably it could even surprise us. Okay. Yeah. It's very surprising. Like, even the start, like, oh, okay, very casual, and then use some words that you could connect with the younger students, superpower, they all love superpower movies. There's some terms like business GPS, which are very interesting and unique, we can say, examples to use, right? It's an analogy to use. Taxman's positions. Although if we look at the comparison here between the more straightforward and official context, they mostly come from the same source, right? It just modifies the contents in such a way that it's worded very differently. Okay, so here the end we see the comment very awesome, crunching numbers. So, okay, I think that shows the good examples on how preparing the chatbots to provide the answers that we want to. It will need some practice. Okay, so it's not just as easy as asking them to do something. So this is also some skills that could be learned in the universities. Okay, so instead of just letting students not know how to learn these prompts, this type of skills could be taught in the universities, which is pretty valuable for when the students work in the field, in the business field. Okay, let's return back to the examples here. All right, using ChatGPT to write some formulas. So this is not just limited to Excel formulas. So I believe some of you probably have tried, you could ask ChatGPT to make some programming codes, let's say Python codes, that could work as well. But for this context, let's practice some prompts for those of us who have not tried this before. Okay, to see how does it work? How could ChatGPT help us write some formulas? So, okay, give you some prompt here in chat. Let's try one example. Because usually in the past, if we want to figure out this formula by ourselves, it'll take some time to go through the, let's say, forums or lots of Google pages. So, if you try, if I want to ask Excel formula to test, let's say, if this is prime number or not. All right, great. So it provides us with the formula itself, but that's not all. The tool is also able to provide some explanation on how the formula works. Okay. Again, this formula might not be correct 100%, as I have tried to use it, let's say, to make some codes for programs. It could generate some errors, but if we told the tools, they use ChatGPT, if the formula is not working, it could reiterate on the formula and generate the correct one eventually. Okay, so this is another tools that we could introduce our students, especially students who are not really familiar with how Excel works, so that they could be introduced with, especially with some of the more advanced function of Excel that they don't normally utilize. Okay. All right. So let's continue. What are the tools of ChatGPT we could use in the context of county educations? So far we have discussed some examples of how to use the prompt for ChatGPT to generate a better response in the context of counting education in general. But there are other ways we could integrate ChatGPT into our existing tools. Let's say Excel. We because I believe this is the tools that all accounting students are familiar with. There are already several add-ins that students and everyone could install to perform some functions that used to be done manually. And these add-ins could perform some of those tools automatically. Okay, so for example, here, ChatGPT for Excel. So if you have Microsoft Excel, I think you could search for this add-in in the software and install it. So for this example, I'll just give you some screenshot on some of the functions it could perform. So let me magnify the slides. All right. So here, translate. Okay. So using the formula AI.translate, so it will instruct the Excel to use the add-in functions. So it could translate the contents of the cell, which is pretty useful, especially for us who do some research as well. Okay, so fill in region and currency based on the match of the region. In the past, we usually have to make a separate table and then use like VLOOKUP, but using these AI tools, it could generate this list automatically. Okay, extract emails. So this is a more advanced function of extracting text from the cell. Usually we have to come up with a very complicated modern syntax, right, to extract text from the cell. But using these tools, really simplify these functions. Dates, format dates. So a lot of dates comes in a lot of variations and formats, if we see here on the left. But by using AI, we don't have to be concerned with this variation of date formats. The AI could recognize it and then output a unified or uniform date format. All right. We can even ask this AI to generate output from specific prompt that we type in the cell. So for example, the prompt is list time improvement opportunities to become a better leader. What's the word limit? And then the output of this prompt will be generated in the cells. So these are just some of the few functions that we could integrate in the existing software. So here we can see that the generative AI is not just a chatbot. It starts to be integrated in the existing tools as well. And this is the development that we'll expect to see more and more in the future. Okay. Another examples that I could give, the PDF reader. I have seen some of the software that I used in the past. In the new version, they updated the software by integrating some AI functions. For example, it could summarize the contents of the PDF files, it could translate the contents of PDF files, and so on. So let's expect this AI function to be integrated in the rest of the software that the business users generally use. Okay. Okay, the next part. I hope you are familiar with this software, Microsoft 365 or Office. So these are the proposed functions of the examples of AI integration in Microsoft Office that I believe will be introduced very soon. If not late this year, it will happen next year. Okay, so those of you who already have the online version of Microsoft Office, I believe you could already try some of these functions. So you could create, ask the chatbot in the Microsoft Office to generate, let's say, this table. Okay, so you could let's say you load the Word document that have the business informations on, let's say, company A. And then using this file, you ask the AI tools that's integrated in the Office to generate SWOT analysis. So this is one example that the output of these tools could generate. So I'm going to show you some other examples of the integration of these AI functions in Microsoft Excel. So let's focus on this part. So this is what the function is called. They call it Copilot. So those of you who have access to the online version of Excel, you could already try these functions. Okay. So let's say we have this table, right? This is a very common table. You see any businesses that shows the sales data of the products, where it has come from, etc. So in these Copilot functions, it could perform basic functions like summarizing these some information from this table into graph, which is nice. And then we could conversate in a sense with this table. Can I see another insight? Ask the Microsoft Excel to perform all these tools, automate the analysis part of this table to generate more insights. So by generating diagrams, grids, etc. So in the future, the users of Microsoft Office are not expected to do this, making the tables or diagram manually anymore. Okay, other examples here. Data analysis. Okay, in the past we have to come up with manual typing the functions manually, looking at the specific data sets, filtering the data based on countries, years, and then sum all the sales price. Usually we have to do it manually. But here, in the next evolution of Excel, we could expect to obtain the results just by asking the software. What total sales of specific product, and then, okay, then what comes out with the output. Okay, let's see, what are the functions we could do? Okay, highlighting data. So performing modifications in the data sets. Say manipulating the tables, delete some of the columns, and then highlights the items that are most shipped, which shown here. Okay. It even provides some context on the output. For example, when we say highlight the most shipped items, does it mean top 1, top 2, top 3, top 5? It's not clear. Then the tools are able to say, okay, just top 5. This is the results. Okay, so this is the development of AI integration that we will expect to happen in the very near future. Again, this is another example. See here. Okay, asking the formula. Okay, we could now do it within the Excel itself, so we don't have to go out to, let's say, ChatGPT again. So it'll be even more convenient later in the future once this function is properly integrated in Office. Okay. And this is not just a function that will be integrated within specific app, let's say just Excel, just Word. There's already some cross-functionals, cross-AI function that could work between the Office app. For example, I have a Microsoft Word document, okay, but then I want to make a PowerPoint slides based on this document, which I believe a lot of us do, right? We have a report, we want to make a PowerPoint slides based on this report. So Office has already started to experiment with the function of how could AI help us make slides just from these Word files. So if we ask them to convert this Word file into slides, it could do so automatically. So those are some of the functions we could expect in the future. Okay, next, let's summarize how we could use this knowledge of prompts in more advanced prompt techniques that we have discussed for generative as our teaching assistants. So first, we have to specify the roles of the output that we expect the output, which perspective that the output will come from. Will the output will take roles of a professor or the students? We should specify that in more details. Okay, and then we could specify the audience, again, provide more context on what this prompt is supposed to be addressed for. And then we could specify the length of the output. We could specify that we want the response to be just one sentence, right? Which we could already do by showing them examples. Make a list, paragraphs, that's also possible. And we could use some adjectives to specify what type of style of writing or tone that the output will be shown as. Will the result be shown as straightforward, concrete, casual, humor, etc.? Okay, this is just examples that we could use. And I think we have practiced this. Okay. Right. So here, I'll just give you the examples of the prompt that I used in the past. So here I specify the conversation. So establish the context first. I want the responses to be usable for students. Okay. So I ask this time I use Bing Chat to ask me the questions. What the concept that I want to explain and who's the audience. Okay. So here, once I give this context, the chatbot responded and confirmed their understanding, and then ask back what type of answers that they expect to get. So here, they want more input, right? What concept that you want to talk about? Who are the audience for your answers? Let's say I want to talk about audit strategy and the audience is college students. Okay, so this is still very general. We could specify it in more details, but let's go through with these examples. And again, this is the results I get. It's pretty comprehensive. It comes with 6 lists of audit strategy, which is suitable for college students and not. That's the first part. And then the second part, it provides an analogy for the concept that explained the first part. So here we have the 6 elements of the audit strategy. And then in the next part, it tried to come up with the analogy of each of those elements. So here it tells us, let me magnify this. Okay. What are some analogies we could make with audit strategy? Okay, one example is roadmap, recipe, game plan, blueprint, script. So all of these are some potential analogy we could use to help us simplify this abstract concept of audit strategy. Okay, so this will be very useful, especially we just want to introduce this concept to, let's say, year 1 student, year 2 students. Okay, they have never seen how this audit strategy looks in real life. So this will help the professor connect better with the students by making a more relatable examples. Okay, so this is one example. We could really use this ChatGPT to enhance the accounting educations. Okay. Next, let's cover the issue of how well does ChatGPT answer accounting questions. Okay. So I will quote this paper, Issues in Accounting Educations, just been published, and it shows some interesting findings. Okay. So the ChatGPT that's used in this research, I believe, is ChatGPT 3.5, and it compares how ChatGPT perform with human as a benchmark. Okay, and we can see from this figure, humans still perform better in average compared to the ChatGPT when they are being asked some accounting questions that used for assessment, for example, exam questions. What's more interesting is that the performance of ChatGPT vary widely depending on the topic of the accounting questions that are being asked. So if we ask questions related to, let's zoom this a bit, accounting information system. Okay. The ChatGPT performed quite well. So it's about 60-ish%. Okay, go back. Right here. It performed quite well. But if we ask questions related to tax, it performed much worse compared to the human. So here we can see some limitations on the ability of ChatGPT to answer accounting-related assessment questions, and it varies depending on the field. Okay. And then if we compare the level of the assessment questions between graduate and undergraduate as well, we don't see that much variations. The tools perform pretty much uniformly across the student level, although a bit worse for graduate students. Okay, so to summarize, these are some of the framework. I'll introduce a framework that we could use to designing the class activity or questions that could leverage the generative AI tools in their learning activities. So the term of the framework is called PAIR. So problem, formulate the problem, select the suitable AI tools, and then interact with it, and then reflect the results of those interactions. So let's go through each of this framework and how we could use it to enhance the accounting educations. So here is the practical examples of the implementation of this PAIR framework to generate assignment that use this generative AI as one of the components for assessment. Okay, so we explicitly ask the students to develop the strategy using AI tools. Okay, so we encourage the students to use these generative AI tools, and we provide specific steps each ways to guide the students on how to do this assignment. So first, we have to ask students to use ideally a real-life example. Okay, so we instruct the students to select one company or multiple, depends on the assignments, and then based on this real-life company, ask the student to conduct their own secondary research that they allow the students opportunity to analyze the business environment and financial reporting risks of the company. And then allow students some freedom to use whatever AI tools they have on the disposal. So as we have discussed before, there are multiple, not just ChatGPT that's available as an alternative for generative AI. Bing Chat is available. There's also Google Bard and other free alternatives that are growing as we speak. So allow the students the freedom to choose what AI tools that they want to use in this assignment, and then make them understand the features and limitations and potential functions of these tools. And then in component 3, this is the most important part, and ask the students to make a prompt, design a prompt that will be asked to the chatbot. Okay, so ask the student to make a record on what kind of prompt it used to, let's say, generate this audit strategy. And ideally, this chat history should be attached as part of the assignments. Okay, so this should not just be 1 or 2 short chat sessions. We could ask the students to provide feedback and guidance to the AI, experiment with different prompts, and most importantly, critically assess the AI output. Okay, this is one part of the learning process that could benefit greatly from the use of generative AI. So instead of asking students to generate or repeat just facts from the textbook or concept or Wikipedia, now we could ask students to look at the output generated by this chatbot and then critically assess whether these results is usable for, let's say, the relevant audit strategy. Is there any mistakes or things that should be clarified on the recommendations of audit strategy proposed by the AI? Let's say the students could criticize point 6 of AI's recommendations because constraint A, B, C, and D. Okay, so by letting AI do some part of the assignments, which is designing audit strategy, the students could practice more high-value learning activities. In this case, the critical thinking part of assessing the audit strategy. Okay, and then based on the critical assessment of this audit strategy that has been generated by AI, we could ask students to prompt the AI to refine the output that it generates. And these results or history or logs of this interaction will be the foundation of the assessment or grades that we could give to the students, how well they use this AI to do this assignment. And lastly, after the assignment finished, the students are satisfied with the critical assessment of the audit strategy that's generated by the AI. We could ask some reflection questions that are all related with the students' experience of using these tools. Okay, so these are some of the questions: what challenges the students face, what tools they use. So the responses to this question will be very useful for the instructors to refine these assignments in the future. Okay. All right. So I hope that part's interesting for all the students and instructors attending the sessions. Now let's move on to the next part, the introduction of AI tools and how it could impact accounting research in specifically, but research in general. Okay, so for these sections, I will introduce some tools that has come up in the past few years that will be useful for I think most of the professors who attended the sessions, that hopefully could motivate the researchers to become more productive in the research activities. So one of the products or services, which I can say that have come up with these that use this function of generative AI is research project management. So these are tools that aim to automate some of the activities that researchers have performed manually in the past. So this is one of those website or service, researcher.live. So you could try by yourself. You could browse this name and look at some of the function it provides. So I'll just cover 4 major functions here. Scientific illustration, it could help automate or create some original illustration based on the text input that we give or prompt. Writing assistance, which is, again, is one of the main functions of the generative AI tools, grammar corrections, paraphrasing, etc. Some of the tools that's could provide a lot of value to researchers include literature recommender. So if we put some keywords, it will generate some literature that hopefully are more relevant than general, let's say, Google Scholar search. And lastly, journal finder. I think this is one of the most novel functions that this website could provide. It accepts the summary of abstract of manuscript that could be uploaded to the website. And based on the content analysis it performs on the abstract and the manuscript we uploaded, it could generate a list of the potential journals for submissions. So it will look for some keywords in the title, abstract, findings, and then match those keywords based on the titles, aim, and scope for certain journals that hopefully match the target journal and the manuscript we uploaded. This one, tools, the research management website. The second one, these are tools that could help us do literature review. So this website is called Connected Papers. So let's try using this one. Let me share the link. All right. So, I just give everyone the link here. So here we could provide a keywords, paper title, or DOI of any papers that you're interested to explore, and it will analyze the reference utilized in the paper and see how it connected to literature being discussed. All right. So for this example, I'll use one of my paper here. Employing strings and mathematics or partners. So this is an audit paper. It's Journal of Accounting Literature. So the following results is the output that that's shown after I input this DOI number. So I just need to copy and paste this DOI number into this blank column, and this is the output. So let's try. You could put your own paper or any other literature you're interested to see what's the positioning of that paper in the literature as a whole. So you try to trace back the reference we use and existing paper in the past. Right, so let's see. This is the output that I use from using my paper. So if you can see, let's explore how we could. interpret these tools. So each node here represents an individual paper. The size is the number of citations, so the larger the circle, the larger then higher the citation, the larger the circle. The color is the publishing year. So the darker color represents a publication that is more recent. While if we look at this circle, that's quite big, but have a lighter color, it means it's published more years ago, in this case, 2012. Okay. So similar papers that have some connecting lines, they are clustered together. So this shows that the article around, let's say, partner similarities, they are clustered around these papers. Okay. And we can see which papers are more influential based on the size of those circles. And the arrow, okay, it represents the citations they employ, or the degree of similarities, excuse me. So they are a range of similarity, and this is not the citations. Yeah, excuse me. Okay. So this will help us trace back what are major literature that we might have missed. Okay. Another good functions of these tools, it provides a summary of the abstract and then the paper origin that are extracted from this graph. So this is a very useful tool that will help us conduct a better literature review, because it's very possible that we might miss one or two major literature, which is usually the ground of, for, let's say, revision for journal reviewers. Okay. Next tools that hopefully be useful in the process of researching that has been enhanced by AI is drafting. So this is just one tool, rightful. So it has some functions that integrate itself to, say, Microsoft Word. So it could do some proofread, check documents, check paragraphs. So these are generally the functions of the existing ChatGPT that is being integrated in Microsoft Word, and it used the context of academic papers. So these are one of the examples of tools that has showed up in the past few years. Okay, these are some other functions of this software. So it could generate some titles, even abstract, based on the content of the paper that we already have. Okay. And next. Of course, now with this introduction of AI tools and how easy everyone could access it, introduce a concern for academic plagiarism. Okay. And these are one of the biggest concerns for publishers and academia in general, because we all know plagiarism is one of the worst sins that academia could commit. Therefore, there's been a lot of development in this field of AI detector tools. So, are you familiar with these tools, Turnitin? I believe a lot of professors here are familiar with these tools. We are commonly used in the universities to detect students' works on plagiarism. So in the past year, I believe, early 2023, they have introduced one novel or new functions regarding AI detections of students' work. So in the past, Turnitin, they just compare the results of the student's paper with the existing database of thesis papers published in the internet. So that's what Turnitin has been doing the past decades. But now with the advent of AI, these tools could generate passages or paragraphs that seems like it's written by humans, but actually it was generated wholly by AIs. So that, again, becomes a big concern for academia in general. So Turnitin as one of the major software that whose function is was advertised to detect and prevent plagiarism, they started to integrate this function of AI detector in their plagiarism check. So that's not all. There has been a lot of new tools that claim to be able to detect texts that are generated from AI. So some of these are rightful, GPT-0 and GPT-Kit. So again, these tools are not perfect. Sometimes they generate a lot of false positive. So they say that these texts are generated by AI, but actually it's not. Okay, so please be careful when use these tools to check students' work, because sometimes it generates a lot of false positive results. Okay, and then of course the academic publishers have, of course, updated their publishing policies with the use of AI tools in writing journal articles. Although this is not all of their stance, I'll just pick two examples, Elsevier and Emerald. In essence, they prohibit the use for AIs to generate the content for the journal's article. So ChatGPT, therefore, or any generative AI tools could not be listed as the authors, okay, of the article, which I think happens in the early stage of AI before all this policy comes up. There are some articles that use ChatGPT as one of the authors in early, I believe, 2023 or late 2022. And the second effect of this policy is the disclosure policies. Now, all journals require authors to disclose if they use AI tools to generate parts of the content in the article. The only exception for this rule is that if the AI tools is only used to check the language for grammatical errors or proofreading, then most publishers don't require the authors to disclose the use of AI-assisted writing technologies. Okay. All right. I think that summarizes the part of the use of AI for research in general. So now let's move on to its effect on accounting practice. So the accounting has changed their roles several times in the past. Let's say before the advent of computer, we all know accounting still plays a role, and it was performed manually using papers, tons of tables with A3 or A2 or A1 papers. And then as the technology develops, accounting changed along with it. So there's no difference this time. With the advent of AI technology, we have to rethink what will be the role of AI in this new age. So in the past, financial accounting, management accounting play kind of separate roles in the realm of business. Financial accountings are more concerned with the function of recording and control, while management accounting is more concerned with the process of providing information for decision making. So all of these functions now could be enhanced by the use of generative AI tools. In the financial accounting sides, the automations that could be...
Sorry, Dr. Frendy, I think you are not showing to us your PowerPoint, Doctor. So just yeah, thank you.
Okay, is it happening a long time ago? Okay, yeah. Please tell me earlier, okay? Because I might miss this part. All right. So, okay. Again, if please refer to these slides. can't get it later, I believe. All right, so here's the changing role of the accounting. So yeah, let's go back to this discussion of the financial accounting roles here. As we already discussed in the past, the generative AI could perform a lot of automations that will be useful for collating the historical data and transactions. And after those statements are being issued, we can already see some of the data analysis roles were able to be automated as well. And here we can see that the role of the accountants is very sensitive of the integration of generative AI throughout this value chain. Okay, if we can say this is the value chain of accounting as a service. So financial accounting is for the value of service, or the value added that's provided revolve around the recording and control of financial transactions, non-financial information. And then management accounting, it revolves more about surrounding the decision-making roles. Okay, so how does ChatGPT perform in the realm of CPA exam? Because this is related a lot to the practice. So in the previous sessions, we already discussed how does ChatGPT perform in the realm of accounting assessment. Okay, but this time, and more specifically, the USCP exam, here we can see a very interesting trend. Okay, so in the past, they have tried to assess how does ChatGPT perform in passing the USCP exam, and comparing these two, we can see how fast this technology has developed. So in ChatGPT 3.5, they failed the exams. Okay, so these are 4 subjects for the USCP exam test. They failed quite miserably. But then in ChatGPT 4, using the same test, they are able to gain passing grades for all of these 4 subjects. So the passing grade was 75%. So this represents a very significant improvement between ChatGPT 4 and 3.5. So here we can, again, imply that in the future, we can even expect a more advanced functions. We can expect that these tools could possess a more advanced functions and more complex reasoning skills, even compared to the ChatGPT that we currently have. All right, so I'm going to share what are the view of some practitioners in the audit practice on how they view the role of generative AI. So, of course, they are interested in how this tool could be used to boost productivity, okay, especially in the functions of accounting that require a lot of monotonous procedures like audit, tax. This could increase the efficiency of staff member performing these functions. And then we also see one interesting perspective of one of the CPA here that argue that ChatGPT could really help with communications. Okay, so in the past, CPA has struggled explaining technical or complicated accounting terms or tax terms to their clients. So now ChatGPT could serve as a bridge between these two. So it's interesting to see that CPA, especially the smaller audit firms, they benefit significantly from the ability of these ChatGPT, one example, to summarize or paraphrase the terms into more simpler terms. As we can already see from the previous example we used, using analogy or explain the concept as if I am like 5 years old, that could really help with bridging the communication between the client and the audit firms. Okay. And in the Wall Street Journal, these are the summary of the potential use of generative AI. So most of this function, if we look at here, mostly revolves around automating some of the functions that be considered non-value added. For example, posting, let's see here, posting journal entries. Okay, first draft of the journal entries, making footnotes, and then interpreting the variances, and also tasks regarding communications with the clients. So transcribing the interviews, and then summarizing the question on earning calls. And all of these summarizing functions could now, and reporting function could now be delegated to generative AI. And then there's one more, let's say, takeaways from the practitioners. They also realize that how well we use this generative AI, it all depends on the users themselves. Because if we don't come up with a group prompt, we don't critically evaluate the output, then the value that this tool will provide to the practice will be also minimal. Okay, so just to summarize, these are a summary of the tasks that the generative AI functions could provide to accounting practice. So automations, data analysis, and these functions will be even more prevalent now that we have seen that the Microsoft Office software suite have started to integrate the function of AI within the software. So we can see that these enhanced data analysis role to become more important in the future. Okay. Financial forecasting. So here, the AI could go beyond the historical data that current analysts used by including more factors or even larger data sets. And it could potentially generate more accurate forecasts and predictive models. That streamline audit processes, as we have used the example in the education part before, let's say, generating audit strategy. So instead of relying on the past existing audit strategies that didn't change for the past few years, now the auditors could analyze not just the financial data of the clients, but also, let's say, news about the business, any significant events that happened, to identify potential risk in the financial reporting process. Virtual assistant, okay, providing more insights on checklists that the auditors might miss, so that could be helpful, and providing summary and guidance on standards and regulations that are updated continuously. So in the past, if, let's say, IFRS come up with a new standards that 20 or 30 pages long with its accompanying documents, the accountants have to spend a considerable amount of time reading those standards, digesting the information. Now with the AI part of virtual assistant, the AI assistant could provide a summary of those accounting standards and provide just, let's say, one-page executive summary on the standards, and which will improve the productivity of everyone working in the office. Risk management and compliance, and again, this will supplement the existing risk-based audit strategy in the past. And of course, cost savings due to increased productivity and the office don't need to hire as much accountants as they do in the past to perform the same level of service to the clients. However, of course, there's still some concerns of the use of this AI-based technology. First, of course, data privacy, security, and ethical issues, which we'll discuss later. And the need to train the existing workforce to be able to effectively utilize these tools in the new age of AI-driven systems. So here again, I'll show the figure that shows the impact on AI use in accounting profession in the next years. And here we can see this list. Okay, in the top, almost everyone in the accounting practice agree that the emergence of AI will be very transformational for the profession in the next 5 years. This is a significantly higher concern compared to other issues, okay, that are facing the accounting professions now. All right. And here, if we look at this part, most practitioners, top firms agree that productivity, efficiency, those are the keywords that AI could help improve AI could help to improve in the future. Okay, so now let's cover the next part. Now let's cover the limitations of generative AI and its ethical implications. So far, we have discussed all the wonder and how we could employ the generative AI to increase the effectiveness of our educations, research, and practice in the realm of accounting. But what are some pitfalls that we should understand on this limitation on these tools and its ethical implications? So first issue is concerned with security and privacy of all the information we put inside those chatbots. Okay, so if we look at the list of the concern they have, okay, first one is cybersecurity, and second one is privacy. Third one, liability. Again, this survey, I believe, have a lot of US respondents, so it's not surprising here, and it's connected with the legal, copyright, and IP issues. These two, especially the privacy part, it really depends on what are the end user agreement that we implicitly agree with when we use those AI tools. So if we go back to, let's say, let's go back here to Bing Chat. All right, so here, if we look at the page, what are privacy terms of, okay, it's in Japanese. But again, this is relevant for all the tools, even ChatGPT. How would they utilize all the prompt that we put inside this chatbot? So that's one thing that corporates have to understand. Okay, will they be used, the prompt, will they be used for the training data for the, let's say, next version of ChatGPT? So if that's the case, then we have to consult with the regulations on what kind of data we can put inside this chatbot. Okay, pick some examples here. So for example, if from the privacy policy, we know that ChatGPT will use the information we put inside this box, then we have to be very careful on what sensitive information that are prohibited to be shared to the public. For example, data regarding patients and healthcare in general. Especially in US, they have a very strict law regarding patients' privacy. So their name, their sensitive information like social security numbers, the type of personal ailment they have, their insurance data, all of those sensitive informations could be extracted if we put it in this text box, right? So as the users, especially corporations that utilize this generative AI, have to understand really deeply on the privacy issues and the potential legal ramifications if those informations are shared to the public. Okay, so these are the main legal and privacy-related issues, and this part on the right, the bias, lies, and weaponization, it all relates to the internal limitation of generative AI itself. Okay, so these are the terms that's often coined on the main limitation of these tools. They call it hallucinations, which represent the wrong predictions that are made by the AI models. So instead of generating results that based on factual information, the AI could generate response that sounds and looks like fact, but it's actually a fiction. Okay. So that's why they call it hallucinations. It looks like a real thing, but it's not. Okay. So again, this happens because of the limitation of the model itself and the incomplete training data. That's why it's very essential for the users of these tools to always evaluate their response to verify and check whether the content is accurate. Okay, so let's try this. Could anyone try? Put this question to ChatGPT. Who are the sole survivor of Titanic? I'll try it myself too. Let's type it. Let's see if it works or not. Oh.
I got the answer, Doctor.
Okay. Could you please share?
Charles Lightoller. So he's a senior officer.
Oh.
Okay. And then the second officer on board.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Adi. Let me share my response. Okay. Interestingly, it seems like we have different.
Yeah.
Okay, let me share with my screen. Okay, here. So this is a very tricky question. This is a trick question, right? Who are the sole survivors of Titanic? It assumes only one person survived the Titanic. Right. However, this generates multiple results, but I will show you this one. I think this is the results that comes from ChatGPT.
Yeah, for me from ChatGPT, right?
Right. So again, if we look at this response, if we read it, it seems like there's only one person that survived the Titanic, but that's not the case. Okay. So if we challenge the ChatGPT to confirm these findings, again, it has some memory. So if we ask them to give us the source that proves this is the sole survivor, so we want to be critical, right? We want to assess whether the tools provide an accurate information or not. Surprisingly, the tools apologize. The ChatGPT apologizes. So, okay, I think we could try. to ask him to force it to provide the sources. So this is where the point that the tools realized it made a mistake, and then again retract the statement that this person Charles was not the sole survivor.
Yeah.
So this is just one example to show how sensitive the tool is with coming up with fictions, right? And information that's not factual. So again, this is based on the 3 questions because we force the tools to just provide the name of one survivor. So this is one example, hallucinations. And then if we ask the tools to also provide sources on whatever topic, okay? Let's say as a researcher, we want to do literature review, right? So I want a literature review on, let's say, audit market or something. I want to do shortcuts. I just ask ChatGPT to do that. It could comes up with this list, right? 10 sources, progress, perspective, impact of the cheese consumption of health. It looks legit, right? There's a author name, there's a publication date, title, even DOI, journal name, page, volume, etc. It seems legit, but if we look deeper, a lot of this doesn't exist. Okay, so these are just some of the examples. This doesn't exist, and then some of these references have different incorrect information compared to the actual article. For example, this cheese consumption article, it exists, but the author is not Google. So, yeah, again, out of these 4, only one is real. So we have to be very careful when we ask ChatGPT for providing this bibliography. And this happens even for ChatGPT 4, which the source I used here. Again, data security. And so
your PowerPoint, Doctor. Not showing again.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So, all right. This is just let's go over this. The bibliography that I just mentioned. Okay. So although we explicitly ask the tools to provide a bibliography on some topics, it comes up with this very convincing looking list. Okay. And if we are not critical, we just copy paste it. And when we try to look for the real article, we'll be surprised that a lot of this either does not exist or have incorrect information, either different author or different title. Okay. Okay, next issue on the limitations of these generative AI tools is the privacy concerns. So how do they use the prompt information that the users inputted in this chatbot? Will they use it later for their training? And how are they treat sensitive data or personal information like names, social security numbers, etc.? So these companies behind these tools, let's say OpenAI or Microsoft, they have to be very clear, have clear policies on data protections and privacy issues. Of course, plagiarism, there's a issue of the data that's used for training. How will the output be considered? Will it be considered as plagiarism of the original data or not? Okay, and this is especially sensitive concerning the art, let's say pictures generated by the AI models. Will this art, because they use a lot of example of real art made by artists, will this AI generated art consider plagiarism of the original art? Okay. Okay, user spoofing. So because of this sophistication, a lot of the AI tools nowadays are not be able not just to, they were not able to just manipulate text, but also graphics, including video and voice. Okay. So it could really be used to impersonate someone to do something that's unexpected. Okay. So I believe you have heard the word deepfakes. So these are AI technologies that are used to impersonate someone's voice. They change their voice directly or make someone look like totally different person. As one example, I believe there's a recent videos that shows President Jokowi that shows him talking in fluent Chinese, right? There's one example of this user spoofing, right? Creating a fake persona using AIs. And lastly, the issue of sustainability. It takes a lot of computational power and expensive hardware to train these AI models. So there's a question on how sustainable this is in the future. Although once the model is developed, it's relatively efficient to run. All right, then the ethical issues regarding the output of these AI models, it revolves around the bias and fairness that are not entirely represented fairly in the output of the AI model. Okay, so the reason why AI models could still exhibit some bias is because the data used to train the model are still not perfect. They still inherit some of those biases. So it's no wonder that the AI models could also inherit this bias and limitation if they use this flawed or biased trainings model. Okay, so let's use these examples of the US federal law, which I have mentioned before. A lot of informations that could be connected with individual identity, like race, sex, disability, color, etc. They are protected with federal law, and if this information given to these companies behind these AI tools, how the companies process this sensitive information, that's still become a sensitive topic to discuss, especially in the US. So let's explore how we could recognize bias that could be introduced in this AI system. Right. So first, of course, measurement and dataset bias. A lot of these biases are similar biases that are observed if we use some datasets for our research. Okay. So some factors, groups could be over or underrepresented in the model, which cause the output of these AI models to overrepresent or underrepresent the responses. Okay, so let's use this example for illustration of biased data. Okay, let's say these AI models use this training data to learn about the difference between dogs and cats. Okay, so they are fed with this picture of dogs on the left, 6 pictures of dogs and 6 pictures of cats. Okay, and then based on this training data, the AI model develop an algorithm. And then let's say we input this dog, right? Is this a dog or the cat? This picture on let me zoom it in. All right, is this a dog or the cat? Is there any pet lovers?
It can be cat and dog.
Actually, this is a breed of dog. Okay, so in fact, this is a dog, right? But if we feed it into this model, can we predict the output here based on the training data? If we are the computer, right, we just know, oh, this is all the cat in the world on the right. This is all the dog in the world. The predictive model will very confidently state that this is a cat. Right? Why? Why is that the case? Because the training data we feed to the generative AI is very biased. We only show, let's magnify these slides. We only shows dogs only in black and white pictures, right? All of the dogs are black, okay? So all the computer knows that all dogs in the world are black. And then all the cats in the world, they are either white or yellow. So when we introduce a white dog, the computer confidently say this is a cat. So this is the inherent bias that could be introduced in the AI model if they use a biased training data. Okay. And this is probably a similar case with research data that we use as well. So that's why all researchers always aim to minimize the bias in their sample sets. Okay, I think there's a similar learning points here. The difficulties is, do we know the training data used by ChatGPT or any other chatbot? Because that's the difficulty, right? The data set is so big that it's unlikely that we are able to evaluate how biased the training data is. So this one example to show the bias in generative AI. Let me see. Just wait, there's some PowerPoint stopped working. Let me restart PowerPoint again. All right. Okay. Okay. The next bias, we call it related to associative bias. So this is closely related to the bias data training data sets that we discussed before. So some products or items are usually associated with certain groups. So for example, if we search toys for girls, it's associated with these toys, right? Cooking, toys, dolls, prints, and certain colors like pink. And if we search for toys for boys, the difference of it comes up. Okay, like action figures, like dinosaurs, for example, video games. Therefore, if we train our generative AI algorithm based on these flawed associations, okay, because if we associate all of these toys with just for girls and all these toys with boys, then they will also show similar bias in their output. Okay. Confirmation bias, and this really relates to stereotypes that exist in our society, and this is usually exhibited if certain values or cultures are overrepresented in the models used to train the AI datasets. Okay, and we're going to show the examples before here. All right, let's say we use an AI to judge a beauty contest. Okay, so let's say we trained the data on the datasets used in 2016, and we use the pictures of, let's say, all the beautiful women in European country or North American countries. The goal was to declare who are the most beautiful women, right? And if we use flawed data sets that only shows pictures of women with prominent beauty standards according to the Western society, let's say blonde hair, blue eyes, etc., then the result will be flawed. Okay, it will ignore the women that comes from the minority groups like the Asians or the Blacks or the Latinos, etc. So this automation bias, again, it represents the bias which shows in the flaws in the training data sets. Yeah. So here we can see that, we can conclude that the output that's generated by ChatGPT is really dependent on what kind of data set it used to generate its algorithm. So if we try to ask some questions that's connected with the value of society that are, let's say, alien to the training model used by ChatGPT, for example, the value of family, for example, it will have some bias towards answers that conform to the, let's say, value of families according to the Western standards. So that's the bias that could be introduced here. Because the ChatGPT, it's mostly built on the, we can say, data sets that's based on Western bias society. Okay. Next is the survivorship bias. So the ChatGPT could overrepresented the data sets that represent the survivors of certain groups or society. So people that are underrepresented here, let's say a group of society that don't post in the internet, okay, their voices, their opinions, they won't be represented fairly in the output of the data sets. Okay. So only people that actively voice their opinion in the internet, those are opinions that are, let's say, overrepresented in the ChatGPT as well. So we are almost 2 hours here. So let's try to, we are towards the end of the lecture today. How should we able to manage all those risks that we just discussed in these sessions on the bias that's inherent in AI? So it's very important to critically evaluate the output of these AI tools. So before we utilize its output of this ChatGPT for decision making, for assessment, let's critically assess whether this output match with our expectation before, because we always have to rely on our own judgment to evaluate the results. So we have to provide opportunity for people to provide feedbacks and communications between parties involved in this. They are involved in the use of generative AI. Let's say, for example, in the context of accounting educations, if we prohibit the use of AI in the final report, for example, and we suspect the assignment or final report of one student are indicated with a heavy use of AI, let's say 100% of his or her essay is written by AI, right? Then we should be able to critically evaluate the results by the AI detectors. So probably we need to get second opinion or third opinion from other tools to see if we get consistent results. And we have to also open the communication with the students. Okay, we should not directly judge that, hey, you use AI, therefore I'll just fail you. So this channel of communication has to still opened so that the students could have opportunity to defend himself or herself. So because probably there's a high chance of false positive. Okay, so these are some examples of postmortems that could be applied in the context of use of generative AI in education and assessment of the students' report. So to sum up, how do we use ChatGPT while realize its limitations? So first, you have to realize that it's not perfect. Don't rely 100% of the tools. It could have a lot of hallucinations, just as we've shown before in the examples. It could generate biased results. And it might not be perfect for all use cases. So for example, if we ask ChatGPT to generate pictures while its main strength is communicating naturally using text, then it might not produce good results. Or ask ChatGPT to generate a list of literature, which it's doing very badly at the moment. Okay. And don't take the results of the tools at face value. So always be critical on the factual statement of the information. As shown with my example of the soul survivor of Titanic, it could generate hallucinate and shows the information that looks very convincing, but it's not factual. And then be transparent. And this is, I think, I agree with the principle of accountability, especially in the realm of publishing. Always shows the always be ready to disclose the specific use of ChatGPT, if it's used in, let's say, any writing of academic articles or journals. And I think we could also start encouraging this culture of self-disclosure to our students. So in my case, I've asked the students if they use ChatGPT to generate or do some grammar check for their report. I asked them to make this disclosure. So I think that's one thing we could do as well. Okay, so what we should look for the future. So as we can see, the revolution of ChatGPT has just started, and we are still in the early stage of its applications. And we are going to see as the tool itself will self-integrate its function to a wider range of software. So not just a standalone chatbot as we see now, as it's being introduced to more and more software. So probably in the future, the Windows will have its own AI functions integrated in it. It will have a tremendous impact for all fields and domains, especially in business and accounting here. So just to close my session here, this is a very up-to-date and good opinion piece, a research paper on ChatGPT, which I believe is available in open source, so everyone could download and read this paper. It's written by, you can see, a lot of authors, and it summarizes the existing body of research on ChatGPT and how it could affect the research practice and policies for business in general. So yeah, I think that's it for my lecture for today. Looking forward for questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Frendy, for the great, nice speech on the generative AI, especially in our field, accounting. And I think all of the participants got what the AI is, which is the AI is a very powerful tools that can help us in our daily life, our research, our education also. And I still using ChatGPT also, especially for the proofreading right now, because it's very helpful and very very cheap for me because it's a free. Okay, we have two questions here in the chat box while we waiting for you guys, the participant, if you want to ask directly to Dr. Frendy. So feel free. So don't be shy if you are not fluent in English, because Dr. Frendy is also still Indonesian, which is if we see that Mr. Dr. Frendy looks like Japanese, but he is Indonesian right now, still Indonesian. Okay, so first question is from Amabel from Undip. So in accounting practice, generative AI has the potential to automate various tasks. How do we foresee the changing role of accountant, and what new skills and knowledge will be required to remain relevant in the profession? So, Dr. Frendy.
All right. Okay. Mr. Ali, thank you for your questions. So let me refer back to these slides. Here, right? So I think as a students, accounting students, we are currently still studying in the university right now. I think you have to start to cultivate skills that no longer revolves around memorizing or recollection of facts. Instead, we have to cultivate skills that provide more values to the information itself. So, for example, by critical thinking, I think that's one values that need to be developed instead of like memorizations or recollection of data, or even how to, for example, in terms of accounting, that we usually do a lot, like debit and credit, right, manually. I think that is a bit too old-fashioned now, especially now in the advent of AI. Although, of course, the concept behind doing those debit and credit is still very valuable. There's a foundation of accounting, and this should still be, the concept itself still need to be understood by the students. But the actions of doing it will no longer provide values for the business practice. Instead, the students should cultivate the skill of critically evaluate information, how to do research effectively, and how to effectively utilize these AI tools in your workplace. So I think you have to treat these AI tools as your friend instead of like enemy. I'm competing with AI. No, I don't think that's a correct perspective to take. We are not competing with AI. Instead, we have to learn how to effectively utilize this tool for your own benefit. So you could practice how to design prompt that have higher quality output compared to your peers. And it takes some skills and practice to design this prompt and critically evaluate the output. And as we can see from these comments from the practitioners, right? Accounting will change in the future due to this. Some of these tasks will no longer be necessary to be performed by human. So the value-added roles like critically thinking or evaluating the ChatGPT output, doing and extracting valuable information by designing a good prompt, that will still be valuable. Okay. And other soft skills, right? How to communicate well with clients, it will never be replaced by computer. Okay. So yeah, I think that would be my answer. Thank you.
Yeah, so it's a great quotation from Michelle Su. Generative AI is only as good as the user themselves. So I think we have a great brain. Our brain is greater than the AI. So we have to be smarter than the AI to use the AI. Okay, for the second question from Natasha Rahmanika from Undip also. So the AI has the potential to simplify various aspects of the accounting industry. According to Dr. Frendy, as an academic, what measures can accounting professionals and educators implement to ensure the ethical and responsible use AI, especially in financial reporting and accounting education? Also, how has AI impacted the employment prospect for accountant, both in professional and academic field? And what skills should we improve and update to meet the evolving demands of the field?
Oh, this is very long question.
Yeah,
I think part of the questions, part of the questions I already answered in the first questions. I think for the impact, as you can see from, is it this? Oh, yeah, I think I'm sharing here. Yeah, it will have a big impact, and I think at the moment, if you graduate today and if you apply to job as like Big Four or any audit firms, you won't be asked about this AI yet, because the company or audit firm, they are still figuring this themselves, right? They're still figuring out how we could integrate this AI in our workflow. So probably you won't experience it now, like this year, but in the next 2 or 3 years, I think it will be much more prevalent. As I show in the slides, even Microsoft Office, I believe, will start integrating these AI functions probably next year, very soon. So I think my advice will be to familiarize yourself with all these tools and strategize with what values you could add on top of these AI tools. Okay, so we know or we understand what things that these tools could do, right? They could translate some text, but this is not enough. Like just translating, let's say, from Indonesian to English is not enough in client communications. So now probably instead of relying on text communications, students now should develop a more better skills in, let's say, face-to-face meeting, public speaking, okay, instead of manually translating in text that was done like manually in the past. That could be one example. And then the analytical skills, some of the analytical skills, the basic one, could already be performed by AI. Let's see for in these examples here. Okay, here. These are some examples of. These are already some examples of the basics data analysis AI could do in the near future, right? So students should develop a more advanced level of analysis. So it's not just this, the questions, the analysis skills should not just revolve around these basic descriptions. Okay, so the students now should be able to go over what is the impact of these results. Let's say now you already know the total sales. How does this data inform us on our decisions, for example, on how does this total sales relates with the performance of other products in other regions in different work in other periods. That sort of more advanced level of analytical skills is now should be required for the students. Okay, is there any parts of the questions that I miss, Mr. Adi?
I think the skill, I think all enough, Dr. Frendy. So, is there any comment from the from Natasha or Ambel, or other question for other participants? Don't be shy, nggak usah malu-malu ya. Boleh pakai bahasa Indonesia. Oke, Dr. Frendy.
Ya, silakan.
Boleh.
Ya.
Just angkat tangan ya, raise your hand, and then boleh langsung. Oh, okay, Natasha said clear. So while reading the question, I need to share greetings from your junior, Dr. Frendy. I think I hope you still remember Anissa Burhan. So she said that she is your junior in your bachelor degree.
Okay.
But I know she's my junior in UM. She's still pursuing Ph.D. in the UM.
I see. That's great to hear.
Okay, is there any other question?
Okay, Adi Firman, while we are waiting for other question, Dr. Frendy, maybe I have 2 questions. The first question is, I realized that maybe Undip, we still we are left behind, about how to use artificial intelligence. Maybe you can share to us how to develop academic guideline or code of conduct to use AI in our faculty. This is my first question. And then the second question about our profession as accounting lecturer. Maybe you can share to us how our profession, especially accounting lecturer, how to be still relevant in the future about how to use this AI. I think this the question.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Dwi, for your questions. As for the first questions regarding the policy, institutional policy on how to use the ChatGPT, I believe for my university, we come up with a document that we share with the students on what kind of expectations on the use of AI. And I believe for the template, it should be able to, I think it's now, for most universities, they are publicly available. So this is 2 examples I show here in the slides, one from Harvard, one from University of Tokyo, and they are pretty generic. I think the takeaways that I could see from either or most university policy regarding the use of ChatGPT is its explicit prohibition to use in assessments, for example, in homework and final report. I think that's the only limitations. And the university, especially from my side, pretty much encourage each professors to figure out how they could integrate the tools in the curriculum itself. So that leads to my answer to the second questions. And as for some more examples on how we could integrate it in accounting educations, I believe we could play around with these tools instead of, let's say, giving a, let's say, textbook definition on what, let's say, what is audit strategy, right? We could instead show the students, let's say, this part, the output of this generative AI. So, right, let me show, this is the definition of audit strategy based on ChatGPT output. And then we could discuss this one by one. What does all of these definitions cover? The textbook definitions, what part is missing? I think that could train students to first get familiar with the tools and also train their analytical skills. Probably another thing we could integrate these tools in our pedagogical course is to provide the questions of our assignments and then put it inside ChatGPT and see what kind of results that will generate. Sometimes the result could be interesting, and that could be a very productive field for past discussions. That could be some idea that we could implement, I believe.
Yeah, that's interesting for us, Dr. We also, that we have to deal with this AI today.
Right. So probably if I want to ask, does Undip already have like official document on or policy and ChatGPT use?
I don't think so. We have not yet.
I think the professor could introduce it at the course level, right? At the syllabus, or probably one section on use of ChatGPT. That could be useful, and then let the students know that we keep up to date with the development. And I always discuss this part in the first day of the class on the proper way to use ChatGPT, especially if the students are assigned to write some final report, because I have to remind them that your final assignment will be tested for plagiarism, even if you use ChatGPT. And I tell them that the tools could already detect the ChatGPT use, and it somewhat discourage them to use it 100% to generate the full essay.
Because I think important also for students to learn how to use the ChatGPT to help them to find research idea or something.
Right, definitely.
They need.
And if I might want to add to that, if we deprive the opportunity or prevent the students to get familiar with tools, it will negatively affect their competitiveness in their workplace. Let's say when they work, let's say in audit firm, all their colleagues could do their work very efficiently because they use the tools. But our students, they have no idea how they could work so quickly. So it will put them in the same playing ground, competitively speaking.
So it's better that we teach them, otherwise they learn by themselves and wrong way.
I think the same thing could be said for researchers as well, right? Because researchers are always also competitive. Now, if we don't use these tools, we might get behind as well. Especially for us researchers who don't have English as our native language. A lot of our articles are often get rejected because of inadequate, a lot of grammatical errors, right? A lot of these tools could really increase the competitiveness of manuscripts from non-English speaking countries, including
Okay, is there any other question? Is it enough, Dr. Dwi Ratmono?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Frendy. I think it's very comprehensive answer, because we cannot avoid and also we cannot prohibit our student to use this AI. But I think the most important maybe in writing, for example, undergraduate thesis, they must disclose where they use this AI. Thank you, Dr. Frendy.
Thank you.
We still have 8 minutes left before we finish this session. Is there any other question? Because we have Dr. Frendy. It's a very great time for you guys to ask something about the AI, because I think Dr. Frendy give his time for us today, so use it for your future, for your better future. No question more from you? So if no more question, can we finish the session, Pak Dwi?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay. So I think I will sum up from our session before I give time for Dr. Frendy for the closing statement, that the AI is very important right now for our life, daily life, or for our education and also research. So I think we need to know how to use it, because I believe that we as a human has a powerful brain compared to the AI. So when we want to use the AI, so we have to be smarter than the AI. So this is my summary for this guest lecturing session. So Dr. Frendy, before we close our session, is there any closing statement from you, Dr. Frendy?
Okay, so probably want to close by telling that the technology always evolves, right? This is not the first time the accounting faced some big changes. Imagine when calculator was first discovered and become more popular. There was a time where a lot of things changes, like the introduction of internet, and now people could communicate, like for example, doing this Zoom call across the world, right? That we couldn't even imagine it happened like 10 years ago. So this is just another changes that we as students and professors need to adapt ourselves with. And the need of accounting will never go away. Like the core function of providing information for decision making will still be there, but how we arrive there will, of course, it will develop across with the advancement in technology. So we'll always keep up to date on what's happening in this field, as is still developing rapidly, even for the free tools that's available for everyone. And this will be very interesting time for all of us. So yeah, I think that's all my closing statement. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Frendy, for the great speech today for our guest lecture in a professional accounting program in Diponegoro University. And thank you very much once more. And for all of you, Dr. Frendy gave his email. So if you want to keep contact with him, so feel free to email him. I also already follow your LinkedIn, Dr. Frendy,
okay, thank
for
you.
our collaboration furthermore. So hopefully we can do the research collaboration next time. Okay. Thank you, guys, for your joining this guest lecture. I hope you can get a lot of knowledge and experience how to using AI and how to deal with the AI. So this is the final. So I close the session and I give it back the time to Ms. Oni as the Master of Ceremony. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, this guest lecture with the theme of Generative Artificial Intelligence on Accounting Education, Research, Practice, and Ethical Concerns, delivered by Mr. Frendy, Ph.D., CPA, Island. Thank you very much, Mr. Frendy, for the many words. As an expression of sincere gratitude to our speaker and moderator, the head of Accounting Professional Education Study Program, Faculty of Economics and Business, Diponegoro, will presenting us a certificate for speaker and moderator. We cordially invite Dr. Piratona, MSc, AKCA, to hand over the certificate to Mr. Frendy and Mr. Adi Firman Ramadan.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Oni. Maybe the committee can share screen the certificate. Okay, I would like to say thank you very much to Dr. Frendy. Yeah, I think it's very comprehensive and insightful lecture today. I'm hoping that we will still have joint collaboration, especially in research. Yeah. We have 2 papers that have published in accounting study. And then next certificate to our moderator. Thank you, Pak Adi Firman. Hopefully you can join also with Dr. Frendy to do maybe joint collaboration in research and education in the next future. Thank you very much, Pak Afran.
Thank you very much. Not today.
Thank you,
Okay.
Pak Dwi.
Okay. Okay, I will give back again to Ms. Oni. to close our lecture today.
Respected audience, we've arrived at the end of the event. We're truly honored to have you with us in this event, and we hope you have been enjoying yourself at this event so far. Thank you so much for the amazing enthusiasm and participation. All participants may leave Zoom meeting room.
Thank you, Pak Frendy. Terima kasih, Pak Fran.
Sama-sama, Pak.
Terima kasih, sama-sama.
Terima kasih.
Universitas Diponegoro, UNDIP, as one of the most favorite campuses in Indonesia, is located in Semarang, Central Java, Indonesia. Semarang, the capital and the largest city of Central Java, is known as a My City with slogan The Great Semarang. The city is famous for heritage building. It lies in the northern part of Central Java, and it is about an hour flight from Indonesia capital city, Jakarta. Located about 15 minutes from the downtown of Semarang City, Faculty of Economics and Business, Universitas Diponegoro, brings its vision to become a leading faculty of economics and business in the implementation of 3 pillars of higher education, both at the national and international levels, as well as rooted in the surrounding community.
This faculty was established on March 14, 1960. Well, let's have a look inside.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone, my name is Professor Suharnomo, Dean of Economic and Business Faculty, Universitas Diponegoro. Warm greeting from Semarang, Central Java, Indonesia. Let me inform you a little bit about our faculty. Faculty of Economic and Business is one of the best in Indonesia. We are top 5 based on World University Ranking by subject 2021, made by Time Higher Education.
We also offer both master and doctoral program in management, accounting, and economics. All these programs incorporate the values of local wisdom as part of its curricula. FEB UNDIP also has a professional program known as Professional Accounting Program, which was established in 2003. All these study programs have been accredited and awarded A category or outstanding category by the National Accreditation Agency for Higher Education, Republic of Indonesia. Internationally, FEB UNDIP is accredited by the Alliance on Business Education and Scholarship for Tomorrow, a 21st century organization, ABS 21. With a well-designed curriculum, facilities, and resources, our faculty provides the students knowledge and skills to succeed in national and global business environment. We have so many partners in developing our faculty, such as governments, banking industries, private sector, and also other potential universities, especially from Europe, Asia, and Australia. Currently, we are increasing cooperation with other stakeholders to bring our faculty to be the best choice faculty in Indonesia. Besides its regular study programs, FEB UNDIP also offers international undergraduate program to students. The International Undergraduate Program, or IUP, is established to meet the demand of today's international competition. All courses in the International Undergraduate Program are delivered in English, and the curriculum is in par with the top business school standard. The IUP consists of 3 majors: International Business, Accounting, Economics, and Finance. During the study, students can test their classroom theories and get innovative network through internship, business case competition, career fairs, and students groups. All IUP students will also experience to become parts of the global society through double degree, single degree, and international student exchange program. Double degree program allows students to obtain 2 undergraduate degrees from UNDIP and partner institution. Since the curriculum in IUP FEB UNDIP is set to the international standard, all credits obtained in UNDIP are transferable to the partner institution and universities worldwide. Partner universities: Saxion University of Applied Sciences, the Netherlands; University de La Réunion, France, MBS Paris 13, France, University of Applied Sciences and Arts, Northwestern Switzerland, University of Sheffield, England, Curtin University, Australia, the University of Western Australia, the University of Queensland, Australia, University Teknologi Malaysia, University of Malaya, Malaysia, University Kebangsaan Malaysia, Chiba University, Japan, Kagoshima University, Japan, Kanazawa University, Japan, Toyohashi University, Japan, Chung-Ang University, Korea, Kangwon National University, Korea, Asia University, Taiwan, Tunghai University, Taiwan, and etc. The faculty has academic and non-academic facilities to support and optimize the potential of the students. The library, economics, business, and accounting laboratory, and Bloomberg Finance Laboratory are provided for students to help them learn further about their studies. Our faculty is also equipped with adequate facilities such as basement parking area, sport facilities, working space, and green space for students to study. Besides the activities inside the class, we also have activities outside the class. For example, singing or economic voice, sound dance, theater, study clubs or capital market,